That's probably gonna come with the interview. I mean, for me, the bag is great, but I'm always gonna do this regardless. I feel like it's just what we do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of TheBtzTho. Today we're doing episode
10.
We're here sitting next to
Fritzo Jean.
Fritzo Jean. Fritzo Jean is an actor, rapper, all-around entertainer.
all that.
And we're gonna get into his story, his journey. So, Fritzo, what's going on, man? How you doing?
Everything good, man. Thank you for having me. This is a nice spot right here.
Nice little.
This is your crib?
Nah.
I'm like, yo, I hope you got no kids. You show in the back.
Nah, this is all adult entertainment here today.
Nice.
So what was your first introduction into, let me just say, the acting aspect?
Acting, like, I went to art school in Queens. I went to I-61, Leonardo da Vinci, and we did like arts and acting. I got caught up into the drama stuff, like in 6th and 7th grade. We had drama class, so I would take it. You know, I was more of a shy kid, but I liked comedy. I was always funny, you know. So I started doing that, and that was my first taste of it. I never really thought I would be doing
anything about it. Yeah.
Nah, because I played basketball. Like, sports was my life. So, you know, it's crazy coming back as an older person now. It's like, this is now the thing that I want to do, and I've always wanted to do it, not even really knowing it. So.
Okay. So, like, you said that you mentioned you also play sports. So that also, I always ask this question, right? Because when you are into the arts, or when you are an artist or a creator, a lot of times you grab inspiration from a lot of different things. Yeah. So have you ever used like your athletic side as far as like into your art?
Yeah, I mean, when I do, you know, Charlie's and stuff like that, a lot of the acting.
Hold on. Who's Charlie?
Alright, so Charlie is another side of me, in a sense. He's my alter ego, I would assume now.
Right.
And he's based on Charlie Chaplin. So I created a character called Air Charlie. And it was kind of like just a joke at first. You know, I had some Halloween clothes, and I just was like, yo, let me just put the top hat on, and he had the mustache, and we went out and shot something, and we just kept on running with it. People thought it was funny. It was more about paying homage to Charlie Chaplin. I'm a big Charlie Chaplin fan.
Right.
And I've always been into that gestural, very like, you don't have to say much to make the laugh.
Right.
So we did that, and so Air Charlie is that cat. So now we've done, you know, with Love for Art, Charlie Talks, so it's kind of like its own like late night type of talk show. We do a lot of sketches and things like that using the character, and I also ultimately want to do comedy on stand-up with the character. So that's the character I love.
So you eventually are going to be doing stand-up. Or have you done stand-up with the Charlie character?
I haven't done it with the Charlie character.
Okay.
I've done it just kind of just as myself.
What does that feel? That's another part of it. So now we got athlete, we have a rapper, we have an actor, we have a comedian.
The math ain't mathing right now.
It's
a lot of numbers. I'm Caribbean, so we gotta have a lot of jobs.
You gotta do a lot of things. But what is it like being on a stage doing comedy?
I can't even lie to you. I've done a lot of stuff, you know, like rapping and doing, you know, shows and things like that.
Right.
It's probably the most nervous or scared situation I've ever been in, because you could have your whole bit ready. Obviously, I feel like I'm funny. I know that I'm naturally funny.
Right.
But you have to hit that audience that night, and even with the bit that you have ready, you don't know if it's gonna work. So you have to feel the audience out, and then if it's not hitting, where you going to? It's almost like being an athlete. Like Kobe's gonna give you 3, 4, 5 moves.
Right.
If you take that first one, he's gonna go to the second one. So you have to be able to adjust.
Like the audibles, it's like an audible.
It's an audible. You have to be able to call it. And some people are really good. Some people could be like, all right, this ain't hitting. I'm just gonna start roasting somebody in the crowd.
Right.
But if there's nobody in the crowd that you could get, so now what's the next thing? We're going current events, you know. So
you got to be up on all like current events. You got to be up on being able to switch up at a drop of a dime, and you just got to be you got to be a funny person.
Yeah.
And like I watch comedy a lot. I love watching stand-up comedy. I think I grew up in the era of like Comedy Central and cable, and watching stand-up comedy and kind of like understanding. I think there is a certain intelligence that you have to be a comedian.
I agree. I mean,
yeah, no, I'm serious. I look at all these people. Like even I was looking at a guy the other night, Tom Barry.
Okay.
I think his name is Tom Barry, and another guy's name is Tom Papa. And you know what? The one thing that I gained from comedy and watching other comedians, especially white comedians, Italian comedians, Russian comedians.
Yeah.
I mean, I could sit and watch BET all day, Comic View. I don't know if you know about that era.
I mean, I'm 82, right. So I've been all that. I've seen all that.
So, you know, like I could sit there and watch that all day, but at a certain point for me, I felt like that started getting kind of played out in a way. So I started tending to look to Comedy Central and look at like, what are these white comedians talking? Yeah. What do they think is funny? You know? So what was it like around that age for you? Did you have those experiences watching other comedians on TV and stuff like that?
Nah, for sure. Like, I mean, we've always watched the comic views and supported the black comedians. I mean, that goes without saying, right. But you have to know what, not to say it like that, the other side is doing as well.
Right.
Like, and know, like, I thought everything, but I watched Saturday Night Live growing up. Like, my older brothers, we would watch that. We would watch different films that didn't have black cast all the time, you know? Right. And we would watch that with black cast, so like, we saw all of it. So you just get the variety. And I think that makes a better comedian because you have a well-versed understanding of, like, everybody. So I feel the times I've done comedy, like I feel like the white crowds gravitated more to my comedy,
right, okay.
more than the black crowds. Not saying that I can't get the black crowds, but you know, I feel like just certain things weren't hidden. Okay. So it's just kind of like you might think just because you black, just because you skin folk don't mean you kin folk.
Right.
In there like, that's it, nigga. Like that's all you got. I'm like, bro, this is it, man. This is it, man. Like
so okay. A big part of comedy and being a comedian is also watching other comedians do their thing.
Yeah.
You know, do you feel like you've learned a lot from watching or being on stage? What have you learned more from, being on stage or watching other comedians be funny?
It's crazy because my brother, and like a lot of my friends, they always get at me because I don't watch a lot of content. Mm-hmm. So like, I see a lot of comedians' bits and things like that, but I don't really take in a lot of stuff because I always want to be original. Mm-hmm. And I don't really have the time to decipher a lot. So I watch here and there, but I don't think I study any specific comedian. Okay. Because I just like a variety of comics, like, you know, from Mike Epps to like, you know, Ashley Larry to like Bernie's to like, you know, to even, you know, the Seinfeld. So like, I don't have a style, but obviously you try to figure out how they set up jokes, maybe like, or like how they might come back to a joke, you know, or a certain punchline. But I try to do it my own way, organically, because I feel like it will make it easy for me to like to make it relatable for me, you know.
Oh, okay, and maybe it's more fun too.
Yeah, it's definitely because you feel like you do, like with Charlie, even though it's a character that's based off of Charlie Chaplin, like I feel like I do my own thing. I don't feel like I make my own rules and how I want to dictate that character. That's why I like it more than going to auditions and like try to be a character. Like I do other films that I'm not Charlie, but that for me is like I could just be naturally just an asshole. Like, or I could like naturally just do certain things and be like, yo, what's that? It's like that's me. That's that character specifically. Mm-hmm. So it is more fun. I would agree to that.
Oh, okay. So what can you pull from out of comedy of being on stage and telling jokes? And that's just a simple way of me saying it, but I know there's a lot more that goes into it, right? Yeah. But what do you take from that and bring into the acting, Fritzo?
I mean, I think just being natural, like most of the time I've done acting where I didn't have to be so, you know, serious, but I've had to, you know, do certain things. but just being able to like just be up there and like I'm not fearful of like really messing up anything like that or failing. Like I'm 40 this year, like so failing for me is like that's you seeing ghosts. Like for me that's you just gotta prepare. Like, you know, so I feel like comedy and acting, I feel like I always prepare, so I'm never worried. Like, you know, sometimes you gotta worry about who you working alongside and how like that energy is. But at the end of the day, when I work with Ak and Cliff and numerous people that I work with, they make me feel comfortable. They be like, just focus on that and that's it. Like when I'm doing producing and then acting and things like that, that's when you're not giving any one thing your attention.
You're getting overwhelmed with everything.
So once they tell me like, yo, we doing this, I'm staying there. Like, I'm just acting. I'm not worried about who's late. I'm not worried about call times and nothing like that. So
right.
I think that's how I bring those two in together.
I was having a discussion with another guest of mine not too long ago, and he was telling me about the production side and how it's better to, when you have like a talent come in or an actor or an actress, they just worry about that.
Yeah.
They're not worried about everything else. And I said that you can honestly see, because we were talking about social media and how a lot of these social media influencers have big production companies behind them. Because I was asked, I said they gotta have big production.
Yeah, for sure.
So I said I could tell the difference from when someone is on camera, in frame, and they're thinking about everything else and they're acting, as opposed to someone that's just thinking about what role am I playing right now.
That's crazy. That's dope.
But listen, I think, but this is what I think. I think that the majority of people, they might not be able to put their finger on it, but they can tell.
Yeah.
If someone's trying to do everything, you know? And that's the one thing I think with art and creators in the beginning, because we doing everything off of a shoestring budget, that we get so used to doing everything ourselves. When it's that time to transition into, no, you just worry about, you just produce the beat, that's it. Or you just paint that thing, the apple right there, that's it. You don't gotta worry about booking the venue or no, you just work. Like, we can't let go of that.
Yeah.
It's very difficult.
It's too much, man. Like,
and so my next question to you is, how do you manage like all these things, like to doing them?
It's tricky because, like, you know, for me, I think it's seasonal. Like, there's a season when I'm just like, I just want to do music. Like, I'll get that. I always do like acting always, but like there's times when I'm like really locked in on music because it just comes to me. Like, if my pen is just feeling like, yo, you gotta get this off. Like, so I'm writing, I'm just like, and I'm in that recording bag. And then there's a time when I'm in that podcast bag where I'm just like, everything podcast. And then, I mean, that's usually a lot of the time too.
Right.
And then, you know, there's a time when we just focus on acting because whatever gigs that we get in or whatever films that we working on have to be locked in. So it sucks because sometimes you feel like you're like the master of no one thing.
Right.
But my thing is, because it's art and we're artists, I just feel like I don't always want to feel like I have to do one thing.
How does sports and comedy, how do those two worlds collide for you? And what do you use and draw from on each other to get to do the comedy that you do today? I
mean, sports, the competitive side and just kind of like the preparation, you know, like the way I prepare in sports and like comedy is just about the repetition and like chopping that tree and just continuing to like work on the craft. And obviously looking back at tape, like whenever you've done anything, being able to build from those moments. In sports, we always look back at the games and look at the matchups. It's no different, I feel, for like film and comedy and things of that nature. Okay, so have you ever bombed doing comedy? Ooh, definitely have bombed. I definitely bombed. My last show at Patrick's Steakhouse in Brooklyn, dope spot, dope restaurant, Caribbean spot. I did one in November, and I was one of the only younger kind of comedians as far as young in the game. Everybody else did like Comedy Central, 30-minute spots, whatever the case may be. So it was a lot of pressure, you know. And right before I went on, it was like cats at the bar drinking, and they were like, "Yo, bro, you Haitian? All right, yo, do it for Haiti." And I'm like, "Yo, that's a lot." Like I feel like that's a lot on my shoulders. So I went out there, thought I was gonna kill because of the demographics, and I trashed it. Like not like to the worst, you know, but I prepared a lot for that. And
right, because you said that you prepare, that you're a preparer.
because I always feel like rather than being fearful or anything like that, just be prepared. That's how I tell my kids, like, don't be scared, be prepared.
Right.
You're gonna be nervous for whatever, you know, but just be prepared. That'll take you through. So I look back at the tape and I realized like it wasn't as bad as I thought it was, but in the moment, because comedy, you're so lonely up there, like, and I wasn't used to that. You know, I'm still young in stand-up. So
and a lot of the places prior to that day, you were doing like smaller places?
Yeah, I did tiny teacup, you know, like that's like open mic, 3 to 5 minutes. You know, it's not a lot of pressure because you just running your bits. So people come there that's known, but they just kind of like doing their bits before they go on tour or whatever the case may be. So it's not a lot of pressure, you know. But that one was a show based on the 5 acts that was there that night, me being one of them. So I felt the pressure. I wanted to do really good because I wanted to use that to galvanize myself in the game. And you know,
you were like the young pup there that night.
I was a young pup, you know what I mean? And they, you know, I showed that I was young, you know, but I don't take none of that for granted that I had the opportunity and I was up there with people that were really tenured in the game. Like, you know, they put in that work. So.
They put in the time. Can you tell me a little bit about Love for Art and that crew, that group?
Man, Love for Art is I mean, we started with Ak and Cliff and Josh. They were kind of like, I always called them the Triangle Offense, you know what I mean? So it was them three as far as like directing, lighting, and cinematography, and I kind of would work with them. Like I would come to shoots and help them out.
Right.
And eventually we started doing work together with like Charlie's and things like that. And you know, we grew it through like, you know, the affiliate 4 AM crew. So that's my crew in the Bronx.
Okay.
And we've been just doing a lot of work together, like just making it an organic build. Not too many cooks in the kitchen, you know, although we do have our process and sometimes the process could be a little, you know, it's not always easy to get everybody on board.
Right.
But at the end of the day, we all are true to the whole process of making, you know, dope stuff. So Love for Art is my heart, man. We continuing to challenge ourselves.
Yeah, shout out to Love for Art, man. This was a great conversation. I enjoyed, I was very inspired. I think that you are one heck of a professional person.
Thank you.
Because out there, folks, we've done this at least like 5 times already. And I gotta tell y'all the truth. If I would've went back in, I feel like Fritzo would have been able to go back to exactly where he was at when we had to start over. But that is what creativity is all about. Being able to dig down deep and draw and pull out what's needed, right? To get the job done. And I appreciate that, man.
I appreciate you for having me. And the same for you, same sentiments for you. Like, you know, you came in very professional and just like, let's get this right, you know, and we right back at it. So shout out to you.
Yo, how can people contact you? How can they get involved? And, you know, how can people find your work and stuff like that?
Obviously you could go to Love for Art, LUV for Art. You can look us, we on YouTube. We have an Instagram page, so all the Charlies and sketches and short films on there. For me personally, Fritz the Cat 57, FRITZ DA 57. Mums and Fritzo podcast, so I do a podcast, MUMZ, and Fritzo FRITZO podcast, and as myself as an artist, as a music artist, Fritz. You can find me on all the streaming. I got a couple songs up there.
Streaming platforms.
Trying to make a little money.
Yeah, you gonna make money. You're very professional. I mean, from what I've seen here today, ladies and gentlemen, and everybody else that's out there.
Y'all listening. Yeah. You know her shit, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but my name is Calypso Beats. This is TheBtzTho. I thank you guys for listening. You can catch me on all your streaming platforms. Also on YouTube, we have now videos now. So you guys make sure you check in if you want to be on the show, or you have any other suggestions about the show or comments, whatever it might be, you can DM me, text me, or you can also email me at TheBtzTho@gmail.com. Thank you guys for listening in. Peace.